Hello and good morning and good afternoon. Welcome everyone to our webinar. Hi Renee. Welcome. So we're doing a little bit differently the webinar today. There's no PowerPoint presentation. We're going to go straight into the demonstration because we are showing both intense browns and brow lamination. So we need that time. So welcome everyone. Hello Danielle. Good morning. Hi from Sarnia. Sarnia. Hi Chance. Hi Natalie. Oh, hi Natalie. Great to have you on as well. Sage, good morning, everyone from NYC. So we're getting everybody from a lot of places. Aloha. Aloha, Brenda. So it's a pleasure to, hi, Jackie. It's a pleasure to have everyone on today. And as I mentioned today, our webinar is about that whole brow experience. So we're going to show the demonstration of both the brow lamination, which majority of you already know on how to perform a brow lamination. And we're just going to reiterate how to use the RefectoCil one properly and how to use it alongside with the intense browns. Okay, so I know everybody's saying hello, hello, hello. So thank you everybody for being here and supporting our webinars. And what we'll do, as you can see by the slide, hello from Sacramento. Howdy, you too. Oh, welcome everyone. A couple people from Sacramento, California. So the intense brown is going to be a great portion for you as well. Oakland, California. Lots of California. So I'll do it. You can't see me right now, but I'm going to do a brief introduction for those of you who might be new. My name is Chrissy, and I am the lead trainer for North America for RefectoCil. So as many of you have been supporting me with the webinars, you see that I do these. I do as well a lot of classrooms and a lot of trade shows as well. So if you're any of the trade shows coming up this year in the US or in Canada, in Toronto or in various one, like our first one in New York, come by, say hello, and check out our classes as well in at our trade shows. So thank you. Okay. So let's begin and stay till the end as we have some announcements at the end. Denise, New York is March 5th to 7th is the webinar. Not webinar, sorry, is the trade show. Anthony, hi Anthony. Okay, so we're gonna make the screen bigger so that you can see the model. Please let me know that you can see it nicely and clearly. Her brows, and we're gonna get started with the prep work, okay? Hi, Terry. Perfect. Yes, March 5th to 7th is our New York trade show. We're very excited. One of our biggest shows. Thank you, Rachel. Gets very thank you, Chance. Gets very it gets very busy at those trade shows. Okay. And then Renee has put the link for you guys to see the registration to attend the show. Okay, so let's begin with our prep work. As we know, this is very, very important for both intense browns and brow lamination. So one thing, if you've sat in my intense browns webinars, is we talked a lot about exfoliation, because we want, after the brow lamination, we want the intense browns to also be smoothly on the skin, the staining not to be patchy. So right from the beginning, when we're going to do the brow lamination, we're also going to do an exfoliation. Now make sure that your exfoliation is a mild one, a gentle one, because you are going to be doing a process of the lamination. So choose one that's meant for the face and delicate, with the microspheres being smaller. Okay. Yes, Terry, there's a New York show from 5th to 7th. Yes, at the Javits Center. Oh, hi, Carmen. Cameron. Cameron, it's your first time here. We're excited to have you on board. Thank you so much for joining us. So now you get to see these two services. These two services are so in demand, very popular to get your customers' brows going. Hi. Well, we got Samantha. Hello from Lux Wholesale and Brandon. Thanks for supporting, Samantha from Lux. Okay, so let's do the prep first, so you guys can see. So this is a RefectoCil non-oily eye makeup remover. That's my seller. Okay, so we're going to prep the brows, and even if they come without any makeup, make sure that you prep the brows because you've got the environmental factors, you got dust, debris, sweat. Sometimes they don't put anything in their brows, but they might put powder in the rest of their face, and that lands into the brows as well. Okay. Hello from Pittsburgh. Aniko, here from Fort Wayne. And then what are you using to exfoliate? So right now I'm just using a product. It's not available though in North America. It's a European product, but you can use any one that you have that you're using in your spa room for facial exfoliation. Okay. Okay, so we're doing the prep. And that's the first step. So now when we're going to exfoliate, so remember our second step when we did an exfoliate was your saline solution. Hello, Raquel. We're so excited for you as well. Is it first time you're in this webinar, or just excited to see the services? So usually we always follow. Yes, so usually, Jackie, you're correct. We do eye makeup remover, and then we follow through after with the saline solution. But because we're going to eventually get. She's got nice full brows for the intense browns, but in the areas here where there's a little bit more sparseness in their skin, we want to make sure that the skin staining is going to be even. So we're going to exfoliate. Okay, so I'm just using one like this. Once again, it's not available in North America. It's a Europe company. So I'm going to take a little bit, and the spheres are really small in this one, which are nice and delicate, especially for somebody who might have more of a sensitive skin. Okay, and you're also, like, for example, if you were having to do somebody's brows with the intense browns that need more skin staining, make sure you exfoliate around the skin that you're also going to be trying to stain. Because if that customer also has very dry skin, and after you're done the service, they go home and their skin continues to flake, it's going to release that staining and it's going to look patchy. Okay. Okay, so we're going to make sure, once again, exfoliate the skin. We're not going to do a lot of skin staining on our model Jennifer because she does have nice full brows. And when they get relaxed as well from the brow lamination, they're going to be even much more fuller. Sorry. Okay, so before I go with the saline, I'm going to grab a little bit of cotton and I'm going to grab a little bit of water. That's what I forgot. My bottle of water. Okay, and I'm going to clean the area with the water before I do the saline because I want to remove any of those spheres. Okay. Because you don't want anything to be in the brow area, and you could always have a spoolie and open up separate the brows so that you can make sure that you got everything. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then is when we're going to grab our saline solution. So you can see the prep. It's a lot of steps, but in order for the intense browns after the brow lamination to stick nicely. Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the saline solution. Okay. And that's your third step. And these are the 3 steps that you would do if you're doing the intense browns. If you're not doing the intense browns and you're just doing the regular oxidative tint, then you would just do the 2 steps. Eye makeup remover and then saline. Okay. We're going to have nice, fresh, clean brows. Okay. So like I said, even if they came without any makeup, make sure you do this process. Okay. And the saline solution is an important step to degrease everything. So people don't see the importance sometimes. They don't purchase it. And then they, especially with the intense browns, they wonder why their results are so patchy and so forth. Even if they're following every other step possibly right, it's the saline solution does play an important role. Okay, so do you have a product recommendation for exfoliation in North America? I don't really, because there's so many out there in the market. If somebody else has a suggested one that they like to use and it's a professional one and it's in their place of business, they can shout it out. But I don't have a specific brand because there's so much competition out there when it comes to the spa industry of skincare products. So you might already have one that you're using with your facials that could be okay to use. Okay, so before I proceed with the brow lamination solutions, I am going to dry the hair, okay? Because remember that when the hair is wet, it doesn't accept the solutions properly, okay? And I like to use a spoolie too, because she also has nice, as I mentioned, nice full brows. So the spoolie will help to separate. Perfect. Okay. You're welcome. Dermalogica. Oh, okay. Somebody said Dermalogica. Okay, yes. Exfoliating powder is a good one. So you originally use water to remove the exfoliant, not saline. First water, because I just want to remove all those particles and not waste too much saline. And then I will grab the saline and clean the area. Okay. So I am going to prepare the solutions right now, and I'm going to show you. Okay. First solution is your lash perm. Okay. So it's the new bottles that have the nice pink like writing, and the timings are now 6 and 4 minutes. Because there's no longer the ones that have the timing. Now, for example, she does have nice full brows. If I feel that the 6 minute is not enough, just give me 1 second. Sorry, Chance. In my room, I have an empty squeezy bottle on my desk. Can you fill it with a little water? Cool water. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. So if I feel that after the 6 minutes when I wipe off and already check the brows and they're not relaxing as well, that means I can leave it to the 8 and 5 minutes, okay? But just be mindful that the 6 and 4 minutes is enough time for those regular brows. But if you're working on a male clientele brows, which are more thicker, unruly, or maybe a brow that's very luscious, you might have to go to 8 and 5 minutes, okay? But nothing more than that, okay? Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So let's squeeze out the solution. And always make sure to squeeze to close your caps right away. If you ever doubt if you didn't close it on time, that first portion, throw it away. If it's already so dark and pink and purple like the color, then it's oxidized. So that's why you should always close your tubes. I've closed it right away so I can preserve my product and be able to make the applications per tube that I should be doing. And then this is what the solution looks like. So it's got like a little pink hue. It's hard to tell in the camera, but as soon as it oxidizes, it gets darker. Okay. So there's a question. Hold on, I just jumped on here. Was the first step just to clean the brows? Yes. The screen is blurry. Let me know if the screen is blurry. But yes, we just did the prep work with the eye makeup remover, and then this exfoliation, and then the saline. Okay. I hope the screen's okay, guys. It's not blurry on my end, so just let me know if everybody else is okay. So I just like to just swirl it around a little bit, just get it. And then I'm going to start to apply, okay? And be generous, depending on the degree of thickness of the brows, you know how much more product to use. It's good on everybody's ends? Okay, sorry. It tends to get blurry if I'm too quick and it's trying to refocus. And some people, they like to have 2 timers. If they feel like they want to start it, I can start the timer right now or start at the end and know how much time that one's left. That's me from doing this so long. But if you need to have 2 timers, by all means, do that. Now, Be very mindful as well that, give me just 1 second, that when you're getting it on the skin, remove it right away, because you can put protection like cream, but during the solution when it's on there, you're going to see that I do something. So what I do is also the cream is going to interfere with what technique I do, tip I do. So I don't put protection cream, but if I see that I've touched on her skin, I go right away and I just clean it on the skin. The less it's on the skin, like bare skin, the less irritation you're going to cause or give any redness to the skin. How many minutes on the first solution? So it is 6 minutes. Okay, 6 minutes for step number 1, 4 minutes for the neutralizer. But because her brows are thicker, and I'm not quite sure, it's my first time doing a brow lamination on our model here. I'm not quite sure how quick her brows are going to relax. And I'm going to check that with a tip I'm going to show you guys. So I already started my timer and I already put it at 8 minutes to see I might need that 8 minutes. Are you using an angled brush? Right now, I'm not. I'm just using our flat end brush, okay, because I just want to apply it on. Usually I use the angled brush when I'm doing more precision work, like the Intense Browns, the activator, or when I'm applying color with the oxidative tints. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I've saturated the brow. Okay, once again, there's some skin that has been touched. I'm going to grab, clean. And this is where you can use a plastic film. If you're going to use the plastic film, and I will show you that, you have to condense the times by a minute each step, because the plastic film is also providing a lot of heat. So you don't want to over process, okay? And we're going to put the plastic wrap on. So as I mentioned, my time has already started. Halfway through the timing, I'm going to check the brows and I'm going to show you a little tip. Now, you can take your spoolie before you put the saran wrap and you can try to just spread it nicely through and then put your plastic wrap. Okay, so, and I was very gentle with that. Okay, and we're going to place it on. Feel okay, Jennifer? Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. And check in with your model if they're not falling asleep or if they haven't fallen asleep yet. Okay, so there's questions. Okay, so can you do a lamination if the client has permanent makeup? Yes, you can. Actually, I was thinking of put a post up of one of my clients, and I did do that. They have done a microbladed brow, but they haven't gone for the touch up and the brow is starting to fade. But also because it's fading, certain areas of the hairs look less denser. So I did a brow lamination on them first, and then I did the intense browns, and it looked like she got microbladed. Obviously, the lamination helped to thicken the area to make it look thicker because the hairs get relaxed and fill in any of those gapped areas. And then with the tinting, with the intense browns, we completed that look, right? And it looked like she went for a microbladed touch up, but paid way less. Okay, so you can. Now, if that customer is going to go for a touch up for any of those more invasive treatments, like a permanent makeup or a microbladed or a powder brush, then you wouldn't do it because it can alter their color and so forth. And if they had just done the treatment and it's not passed over a month, then like up to 6 weeks, then you shouldn't do it either. Okay, they have to have that healing time. I did a lamination on an eyebrow transplant. I found the hairs didn't relax as much. Is there anything I can do? Ooh, a transplant. I, I'm trying to think like a doctor, but I'm wondering, because the hair is a transplant, maybe it loses a lot of that, not function, but what's the word called? Like it's losing a lot of that capability to be altered because it has been transplanted. So you can try to leave the timing longer. So instead of the 6 and 4 minutes, 8 and 5. And this is a technique I'm going to show you guys right now, and try to do this too so you can see that the hair is relaxing and also be generous with the solution. But I have these nice little dental sticks, right? They have ones, and I got like bamboo ones so that they're biodegradable. And I'm going to open up the first side. I still have 4 minutes left, but it's half of your timing. So if you chose 6 minutes, at 3 minutes, check the brows. If you chose the 8 minutes, at 4 minutes, check the brows. So I'm going to start to follow through and see how her brows are relaxing. And they actually are relaxing nicely. Can you guys see that? So when you're checking that brow, that transplant brow, and you're feeling that some areas are just not relaxing, then you can apply some more solution. Okay, I'm just cleaning around her skin area. You can go grab some more solution. You should have some left in your bowl, or just squeeze some more. And you're gonna go grab and say like, oh, this area didn't relax. Okay, I'm gonna dab some more in that area, right? And then you're going to close up back the plastic wrap for the remainder of the time. So check that next time with your customer that has the um, transplant brow and see. Uh, okay, so also I think you can check too is if you use just the oxidant solution on a Q-tip and put it on the brows just to make the hairs more porous, maybe it will be able to accept the lash foam solution faster, better. Have not, okay, so would you sell the service? Is it considered as a henna brow? So the intense browns, yes, because it's like a hybrid where it stains the skin and also colors the hair. So you would charge about 40 to 60, between 40 to $60 just for the intense browns service. Now with a brow lamination, we have at the end of this profitability sheets that get sent to you, and you can see how much the combo pricings are. Usually you take the two services, you add them together, what the costs are, and you take off about $10 as a discount to encourage people to do a combo service. Okay. Yeah, so her brows are relaxing really well. Also with her brows, they are thicker. We're doing the intense browns. We're going to have to do some shaping as well at the end to give it that crisp and not overwhelming brow. Okay. Did I answer? So how would you sell? So yeah, so for your selling for the price, for the how to sell it, it's a restructuring. Like right now I call it the brow experience, and you can call it the brow intensifying service, but you are actually giving somebody who is lacking brows, you're redesigning, you're able to remodel and give them brows with the staining effect, right? So it's what's going to make it different from the oxidated is the staining. 5 to 8 days on the skin, 4 to 6 weeks on the hair. Okay. The name of the product on the brows, we're doing a brow lamination, and it's the lash perm solution that we're using. Okay, hopefully I have up to date your questions. And if you feel like I didn't answer it properly, just let me know again and I can answer it. What is the shelf life with the products? So your solutions, once you've opened them, whether it's the lash perm or the neutralizer, it is 2 months after opening. Otherwise, they have a date on the back. So my tube doesn't expire till 2025 February. And then your tints, like your intense browns tints, on the back of the tube, you will see a little image of a sorry, right there, that little image right there. I don't know if I can get it close without being blurry. It's the icon of a jar with a number in it. So not 6 months after opening my tubes, they expire. Okay. Otherwise closed, they have about a 2 to 3 year shelf life. Can you repeat how long it lasts in the skin in here? It is will there be another webinar like this again? For sure there will. And if you can't see this one, it will be recorded and put onto our website as well. But we will have all webinars running throughout the whole year. Now my timing is done. I will get to your questions. Each tube of lash perm is, you should be able to do about 15 applications. 12, 12 if you have 2 sets of tubes, between 12 to 15 applications if you have 2 sets of tubes of the lash perm and neutralizers for brows. Okay. So just give me 1 second. If you guys can just pause on your questions, and I can. So on the skin, it lasts 5 to 8 days. On the hair, 4 to 6 weeks. Are the products interchangeable for brow lami and lash lift? The lash lift solutions are the same for brow lamination. So yes, you have the same solutions. Okay. Are both the brow lamination and intense brown products Health Canada approved? I'm looking for a new brow lamination to use in Canada. Yes, and the tinting was approved anyways. Regular oxidative tint The Intense Browns is FDA compliant in the US, which is a big deal. In Canada here, we're okay to use them. So both these systems for RefectoCil that you use, you're going to be good. Okay, so let me just remove and I will answer your questions. I'm going to take a dry Q-tip. So I saw that her brows relaxed well with the 8 and 5 minutes, but I did 7 and 4 minutes because I use a plastic wrap. Okay, so I'm going to remove with a dry Q-tip. Okay. I see a question. Can you do laminate after wax or how long? No, you do first lamination, then your tinting, then waxing. Your waxing is always the last thing you want to do. You don't want to create any sensitivities to your customer. And with waxing before, you will because you have all these pores that are open. Okay? So be mindful of that. So I use a dry Q-tip. I removed it all. I'm going to take my a brand new spoolie because this spoolie was already touched the solution. And I'm going to have to redirect the hair. I see it's vegan. I have many customers are gluten-free. Yep, it's gluten-free as well. And it's good for those people who are sensitive to the oxidative tints. They could be using the Intense Brown. I've submitted for education. I love this line and so glad I made this learning. Yes, and we have our online courses now that you can get certified, and we'll mention that at the end as well. Okay. Not all the RefectoCil tints are vegetable dyes, just the Intense Browns. The oxidative ones are not. Okay. So just the Intense Browns, they are all plant-based. Okay, so you can see already her hair, where I'm maneuvering it, it's spreading there, okay? So right now what we're going to do is I'm making sure that that I position the hair where I want to set it, okay? Did she say lamination tint? Yes. After every 6 weeks, you can do a lamination. You shouldn't do it anytime sooner than that because then you're overdoing it. Okay, over processing. It's too much to do it in before a month. So we say after 6 weeks, you can get your customer to come back in. Okay, the next step is your neutralizer. So you're going to be using your neutralizer to now set the brows in place. So make sure that where you brush them is where you're going to set them in place. Okay, because there's a variety of looks that you can do with brow lamination, but we're just keeping it natural for Jennifer because she does have full brows. Okay, so we're going to take the neutralizer and you're going to apply it. Same area. Now, one thing I didn't show, which is good to do, is dry the hairs before you apply the neutralizer. Okay? Dry the brow hairs because when the brow hairs are dry, they're going to accept the next step better. Okay? So remember, be mindful of that. And once I set it into place with the neutralizer, I don't bother the hair, like I don't do anything. I'm going to put the plastic wrap and leave it for the remainder of the 4 minutes because we're doing 8 and 5, so it's 4 minutes, yes, that we're going to leave the neutralizer. Okay? Because we're putting the plastic film. And the neutralizer is much more gentle. I'm still going to clean the skin area because, some people could just be really sensitive. Okay, and now if you want to do just a little bit of the spreading, gentle. And then you're going to grab a Q-tip, clean the area. And then you're going to put the plastic film. Okay, and then we're going to set the timer already started. Every time when I reach a second brow, I start it. Okay, and you don't do anything. You're not going to disrupt it or do anything. Okay, so let's look at the questions. Let's see. We did about the lamination, how often you should do it. So yeah, so lamination first, then tint, then wax. Only the Intense Browns are plant-based extracts. The oxidative are not. What is the difference between vegetable or not? So the system is different with an oxidative tint. So your oxidative tints are the original tints that RefectoCil has with the 8 colors. Those ones are actually with the developer. So you're using an oxidant, right? A peroxide, hydrogen peroxide. Those two together, they open up the hair structure. They open it up, and then the color gets deposited inside, and then it seals. So you're roughening the cuticle because it's like your hair dye. You're depositing that color. With the plant-based, like henna type, you're not depositing it into the hair shaft. Into the hair follicle. You are coating the outer layer of the hair. Okay, so it's topical, I would say. So it's coating the outer layer. That's why also it might not last as long as the oxidative tints, but they're getting better skin staining because of it being so topical. The color is more vibrant and so forth. So that's the difference between the two systems. So if you have somebody that's sensitive to the original dye, the oxidative, and they really want to do these services, then you would, they really want their brows to have some color, then you would take them over to the intense browns. Okay. If the client isn't happy, for example, the brows are too full for them, are you able to go back and relax them same day? You wouldn't relax them, they would just brush them back down. Wherever they brush them, the brows will flow to it. But that's why you should have a consultation. You need to find out what look your customer wants. As I meant for Jennifer, I'm keeping it very natural for her because she has fuller brows. And I'm gonna potentially have to like trim a little bit because when they're relaxed, they are longer, the hairs, right? And then when we clean and so forth. So always do a consultation with your customer to see what looks do they want. Do they want a laminated look where it's very pressed down and it has that sheen? Do they want a fluffy look where it's or like a soapy brow where all the brows are sticking upwards? Or do they want a fluffy feathery where it's a little bit sticking up at the beginning, but then the rest of the brow flows down like a laminated look? So on our website, when you go check out the website, you can see these 3 different looks because we have the brochure on there that shows those 3 different looks. So it's not always just one look for your customer because not all the customers are going to want that crazy wild look. Okay. My internet is off right now. Did she mention if there will be another webinar like this? Yes, there will, Sage. Yep. It's always on our website. All of our webinars that we host, we promote them on our website, on our social media, and then you can watch the recordings as well on the RefectoCil website under education. So Sage, you said you're confused. I'm sorry, I'm so confused about the time. Are you talking about the time of the lash perm solution? So the first solution, it is 8 minutes. And the second set is 5 minutes. So the neutralizer is 5 minutes. But because you put a plastic wrap, it is condensed 1 minute each step. Okay, so 7 and 4 minutes. But the original times are 6 and 4. The only reason I did 8 and 5 is because she has full, thick brows, and I didn't know if her brows were going to take the relaxing easy. So that's the only reason you would go 8 and 5 minutes if somebody has full unruly brows or you're working on a male clientele that has kinks like curls in their brows. Otherwise, the 6 and 4 minutes is correct. And even if you do 6 and 4 or 8 and 5, as soon as you put a plastic film on it, you condense each step by 1 minute. Okay, so hopefully that will help. How much products are you using? How much product are you using? It's a piece size, and your piece size varies on to how thick the brows are or how less the brows are. So your piece size will always will vary. Okay, how long the plastic wrap? How long do you leave it on? You leave it on throughout the whole service, but you're condensing it by 1 minute each step. Okay, so I already talked about the timing. Denise, I hope you're okay. Which one would get an allergic reaction? Plant-based? Okay, so that's depending on your customer, Denise. Obviously, if your customer is sensitive to the oxidative tints, you would bring them to the intense browns. But with either service, you're always doing a patch test because some people are even allergic just to you touching them, like their skin turns red. So you always got to do a patch test. Yep, patches, yes. Could you use the oxidative tints first the hair, then use the plant-based for the sparse areas of the brows where there's no hair? Yes, you can. You can top it up, but 2 different steps. So your service becomes much longer. Okay, so my timing is up. Could you use both types of tints back to back on the same? Yep, we answered that. How long is a skin stain for oxidative tints? There is no skin staining for oxidative tints. It's meant for the hair. Hence why you'll see a shadow and then it goes away that same day when the customer goes home. So the intense browns is meant for the skin. The oxidative is meant for the hair. The intense browns is for both skin and hair, and the oxidative is just for the hair. Patch testing is done either on the inner forearm, like in the inner forearm, in the crease of the elbow, behind the ear. You would just do each step in different sections. So you would have section 1, which would be the lash perm, section 2, which would be the neutralizer, then it would be the primer, then it would be the color gel, then it would be the activator, because if you're using the intense browns. If you're using the oxidative, you'd mix the oxidative with the oxidant, with the peroxide, and that would be together in one spot because the oxidant is what's activating what can make the reaction as well. So you would have 3 spots instead for that. Okay. And we always suggest to do it 48 hours and ahead of time. Okay. Where can we find the info on patching, please? Well, we haven't put anything up on the thing about patch testing. We could always do if you do the online course, you'll see it on there. But you can either email at the end. I'll show you a slide at the end, and I can write out the steps for you. If you were doing both kinds, which would you do first? Oxidative? Yes, first oxidative to get the hairs, and then the intense browns to stain. I usually only do both of those together when somebody's going on vacation, because also you're going to make the service look more intense as well. So I always do that when somebody goes on vacation, so that when it starts to fade from the skin because of the sun and so forth, it still is on the hair. Okay, so I'm going to grab a new one of my spoolie things, So this is where we're going to clean it properly with the saline solution so that we can start the intense browns. But what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm just going to, I just hit my head on the camera. I'm going to just do a little bit of some trimming. And at the end, when you would shape your customer as well to give them that crisp finish. Okay. Okay, so we just did a little mild trimming for now before I go to the intense browns. Perfect. But you guys can see how fanned out the hair is, okay? So right now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to clean with the saline, okay? No water at all. Like I just cleaned with a dry Q-tip. So first step of the solution, dry Q-tip. Second step, dry Q-tip. And now I'm going to go with saline solution to prepare it for the intense browns, okay? So that's our saline solution. Yeah, sorry, my hat hit the camera. Sorry. Dry, okay? I miss how you remove the neutralizers. It's just dry cotton round, and now we are doing the give me 1 second. Now we're doing the saline. Okay, so we're gonna wipe the saline, dry the hair, because we have to make sure there's no solution. If you've left any solution on the brow hairs, it's going to affect the intense browns. So we do the saline. Okay, And then after that, I brush them through. I brush them through just to fan them out, but I'm also going to dry them now. Okay? Because I don't want them to be wet. Because they won't accept the primer. Okay? It is dark. That's why it's everybody has sound. Can you hear me? Somebody just said they don't have sound. It is an intense brown treatment, so you have to always let your customers know that this treatment is an intense treatment. So because it's staining the skin and coloring the hair, it's going to be more intense. So you have to learn how to use your spoolie when you're applying the activator, and you have to learn to do the ombre for the customers that want it more gentle. And then afterwards, you can clean the brows a little bit, buff it with some water, not the tint remover, as this can result in patchiness. Okay? Okay, you can hear me. Okay. So how do you control the intensity when coloring tricks? I'm not, I don't comprehend, but the intensity, there's a limit to what you can do. So it's when you're applying the activator, you're going to spread it with the spoolie instead of using the brush part, because the brush part is solid, so it will create a more solid look. So you spread it with the spoolie, and also when you go to the beginning of the brow here, you don't apply the activator, you grab it from the rest of the brow and then you buff it so that you can give still an ombre effect and not make it look like a full brow, like a full intense brow. So let's start with the primer. This is your step number 1. We're using the medium primer because she has intense, like she has nice, beautiful brows. Okay. The colorings are used straightforward though. They don't suggest you mix the colors. So you're just going to use the colors straight as they say. If you start to mix the colors, you make it more intense, and you're not going to achieve the look like originally that the customer wanted. Okay. So let's apply. Oh no, before we do that, so I'm going to have to re-squeeze it out. What are we missing? A brow mapping. Very, very important. She has full brow, so I don't necessarily need to, but we need to keep it controlled. So I won't be able to look at all the questions, so you might have to also email me some of your questions as I'm focusing on this. So open up your eyes, Jennifer, and just look straight. Thank you. Okay, so we mapped the 3 points. You can close it down. You're good if you want. We mapped the 3 points. And you're going to now connect. Now, because I don't want to do lots of skin staining, I'm going to try as close as I can. Oh, my hat's in the way. Sorry, guys. I realized that. I'm going to take my hat off. Okay, so let's just make this unblurry again. There we go. And we're just going to follow the brow because I don't need to make it too much more intense. Okay, so that's the first one that I did. And same thing with the other side. And I'm just going to compare to see. Turn your head this way. Perfect. I just want to compare and make sure that her brows or even the brow mapping. So this is the part that's going to take the time that is needed to make sure that you stain properly. Okay. So there is a lot of questions. If I skip the lamination, would I do the same prep for the intense browns? Yes, you do. You still clean with the eye makeup remover, the exfoliant, and the saline. You have to follow those 3 steps with any of the RefectoCil services. Okay. Any questions before that I missed, you can repeat them again, or please you'll email me. I will show you the slide at the end. I just want to get with the demonstration. So because I already squeezed out my primer, I'm gonna have to squeeze fresh new one because the timings, the primer is 4 minutes, the color gel is 2 minutes, the activator is 1 minute. They don't progress, they stop. So if you squeeze it before, then you're going to risk it not working. Like if you squeeze it out and then start to prep your customer, it's already oxidized, okay? As a redhead, I agree, it's too dark for me. You should use a chocolate brown for the red and do the ombre and soften it afterwards with the water. The chocolate brown has a little bit of warmth in it. Okay, so that's your primer. So give me 1 second. Okay, so you're going to apply it. Because she also has thick brows, but you should do this in general, but because she also has thick brows, you know, go against as well. So you can get it in there, okay? Be generous with it. She does have fuller brows. And you can use your spoolie to even it out. Okay. Now, because it's not progressive, you can start your timer when you're done both brows. Okay. So the first set for the primer, it is 4 minutes. Okay. Because I'll have that 4 minutes time, you guys can repeat any of your questions I missed in the top part, and I'll try to answer those during the solution time. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to do the 4 minutes, and I will look at your questions. Okay, so no, don't worry, Leslie, about the 2 millimeters. We're not following it this way because there's no ratios. So you're not mixing with anything. You're just going to squeeze out what you feel. I portion it, what's enough. So I always start less. My piece size is less. And then if I have to add more, I can squeeze some more. If you squeeze a lot, then you have wastage. So I always start with less, my piece size amount. Okay. What kind of primer for the tint? It is the Intense Browns primer. Okay. The Intense Browns kit comes with 3 steps. You have your primer, which is the white one here, and it comes in medium or strong. Now, when it comes in strong, that means it's only going to intensify the color to make it darker. It's not going to help with the longevity of it lasting on the skin. Then you have your color gel. So for example, this is the ash brown. The chocolate brown is the one that I was talking about for redheads because it has a warm undertone in it. You can tell by the packaging as well. And then the third step would be your activator. So your activator is where the magic is going to happen. You don't see anything now. All you see is clear gels. Step 1, clear. Step 2, clear. Step 3, clear. But as soon as you touch step 3, the activator on the hair that had the color gel and the primer, instantly it darkens. That is why brow mapping is going to be very important. Okay. Give me 1 second. Yeah, because start the timer after you apply the primer to both brows because they don't progress. So even if it went 10 seconds over, it's fine. They don't progress. Okay. So I start my timer at the end when I'm done the second brow. Can I still use intense browns if I did the brow lamp with a different manufacturer? You test it out first before a paying customer. Test it out. There are some with some brow laminations that might not work, or vice versa. You use our brow lamination, but with some hennas out there, it might not work. The tinting. So just test it out first to make sure all is good and keep the same tips. Clean the brow area before you go and you tint properly from the solutions. Okay. I have a client that I always use the graphite tint for with the original RefectoCil product. What would you recommend I use with the intense browns? Ash brown. The ash brown has a similar look. It's a cool tone color. It's a cool base, sorry, and it has like that similar effect as like I have a couple mature clienteles that have the silvery gray white right here, and the ash brown is what accommodates them. For the primer, do you recommend the strong for more resistant hair and gray hair? The strong is just intensifying the color. So regardless of the medium or the strong, you should be able to get full coverage of gray. Unless the gray hair starts to become very wiry and it just doesn't want to accept it, then you'd have to do that pre-softening. Either you can do it with the oxidant, hydrogen peroxide, or the bleaching paste. You can pre-soften it, but they can't come back until 24 hours to do the actual tinting after with the intense browns. Can I still use intense browns if okay, so that's why, yeah, you're correct what you said, that I wouldn't use it because then the company can't guarantee results. But once again, if you want to test it out and it does work, then that's up to you. I just wouldn't suggest you test it out on a paying customer, that if it doesn't work out, you don't really want to make your customer pay for it. So always test it out before, okay? But once again, we can't guarantee that the results are going to be as accurate, okay? So the primer is optional. You make it more optional when it's for okay, so anytime you need to skin stain, use it. Otherwise, you're not going to have proper skin staining. Okay. Lashes, you don't need to use the primer on lashes because there's no skin staining. Okay. So that's when you can make it optional. Now, if the brows are completely full, like completely full brows, they just wanted to freshen up a color, then you can omit the primer because there's no skin staining. Okay. But as soon as you want skin staining, you got to use the primer. Okay. So dry Q-tip. And then we're going to dry the hairs. See the importance of drying the hair? So everything gets accepted properly. Okay. And that's another reason why you might say, oh my gosh, it was patchy and stuff. They forget to do the drying time. If you purchase a lash fan, you can make it dry faster, right? You can accelerate the drying time. Okay. So if you don't have a lash fan, you have to let each step dry 4 minutes. That's why the lash fan is really helpful. Your recording will come in a thank you email, or it will be on the website. We have some on the website already, okay? What is the timing for both services? Each service, brow lamination takes about 30 minutes and the intense brown. So you should book your customer for about an hour, and depending if you're doing some shaping afterwards, because we say 35 to 40 minutes for intense browns if you're going to shape as well. Okay. So let's proceed with the second step. If you have to put if you have to refix your, brow mapping, and you have to get your aligned again, you can, but it's pretty good still. It's still on there. Oh, my head's in the way. Sorry. Okay. And then you start with step number 2. So I'm going to use the ash brown on her because she does have bolder brows, and we just laminated them as well. And even after lamination, you don't need to condense the times. The times are only 4, 2, and 1 minute. When you condense it, there's nothing there. There's nothing. You're not going to have the results because you're not going to get fully stay the duration that's supposed to. Okay, so it's not like the oxidative tints where you have to condense it after brow lamination or a lash lift. Okay, so I'm gonna now apply the color gel, and it comes as well clear. Okay, like there's no color in it, and we're going to apply it the same we did with the primer. And stay within your brow mapping to keep it that crisp effect. I'm using both of my flat brushes for this part, but as soon as I go to the activator, you're going to see I'm using the angle brush. And I'm going to show you how I do the ombre because I utilize the spoolie a lot. Okay, perfect. So we're going to leave that on for the 2 minutes. Why does every color turn black when applied? It throws me off. When it's wet, because they're based on the brown, like they're black brown, deep brown. So the deep brown and the black brown will look very towards the black. The ash brown, as soon as you remove it, you'll see the lighter color. It's because it's wet and painted on that it looks like that. Otherwise, when you remove it off, it will show its true color. Okay, and when the hair dries, it even looks a little bit lighter as well. Oh, are you talking about my model? Sorry, I thought you meant in general when you put there's nothing done yet. It's the color gels are all clear. You're right. Her brow hairs are black. Sorry, I took it differently. I thought you meant that you do it and you've done all different color gels, and at the end when you do the activator, they all look black. And that's because, as I meant, the way the color is done. But right now her brows are actually black, and each step that I put is a clear. Okay, so I did understand you originally that the different color gels immediately turn black. Yeah, so you mean the activator is so each color that you've tried, it turns very dark. And that's because it's just the formulation, how it's done. But once you wipe it off, the brow is not black. Unless you use deep brown or black brown. I've used the chocolate brown where it comes out more warm, a brown but warm. And then my ash brown comes out almost like a graphite. And that also varies on your customer skin type as well. Okay. Some colors get altered differently on your different customer skin type. Yes. What's the texture of the brows after the primer? Since you only remove with Q-tip, should you still see some residue? No residue. I made sure with my Q-tip, I removed the bulk of it until I saw my Q-tip was dry. And then I used my lash fan to dry it. Okay. The brow mapping per individual, I just choose the basic technique because they have brows. So you just use your bridge of your nose, the corner of the bridge of your nose is where your brow should start. When they open up their eyes and they look straight, from the corner of the bridge of their nose to the corner of the iris, that's where the arch should be. And the corner of the bridge of their nose to the corner of the eye, that's where their brow should end. That's how a standard brow should begin and end and where the arch should be. Okay, so that's the basic way of brow mapping. So let's remove with a dry Q-tip. Okay, so this is step number 2, and we left it on for 2 minutes. So I make sure that my Q-tip is as dry as can be, and then I do the whole fan. Okay. So you really want to make sure that there's no bulk solution on there. Okay. And now I'm going to grab my fan. Okay. And I'm going to dry the hairs. Okay. And that's what's going to secure that the next final step is ready, like each step when you dry them. Lash fans don't cost that much. If you're already doing lash extensions, you already have them. So it's very great to make it faster. Instead of, technically you're supposed to allow each step to dry 4 minutes in between, right? So in order to accelerate that and don't have 8 minutes or 12 minutes of like drying time, you can use a lash fan. Okay. Okay, before I do the activator, which is the crucial part, this is where the magic happens. If you have to, yes, color gel 2 minutes. Can we see a model with some gray brows next time? I can try and find I can try to find a model that can be for gray hairs. Yes, for sure. I will do my best. Okay, so this is the part where you need to take your time. You need to make sure that you are constantly, I'm going to tell you 2 tips before I start doing it. So the color gel, the activator, sorry, is their final step. So this gray tube, okay? And it's where you're going to see it darkening instantly. Now, very important that you do not double dip, meaning you don't want to keep on changing your brush because that's a waste of brushes. But when you go grab and you start to apply it, it darkens instantly, okay? So because it darkens instantly, when you take that brush back to grab some more fresh activator, you're activating inside there. You're getting it all dark inside there as well. So every time before I go in, I wipe my brush back and forth, and then I grab new. Okay, you can have a cotton pad on your glove. You can wipe it on a cotton pad. I just like to use my glove because I love these gloves, clean it off really nicely. Okay. Another thing too is when you grab the activator and you go to apply it, move your brush like this constantly. Move it, move it, move it, move it. Don't take the activator and blotch it on there, like stop and then moving, or else you're going to create, because it's instantly staining, you're going to create that spot. You're going to get spots. Okay. So if you turn your head that way a little bit, perfect. We're going to start with this side first. And as I'm going in, I'm right away moving my brush. Okay. And I'm going to wipe, I'm just wiping it on my glove, and I'm grabbing some more. Always wiping my brush, okay? And I like to take my spoolie, and this is where it's going to help to make it not patchy or avoid, to have patchiness when you use your spoolie. Now, as soon as I start going very close to the beginning of the brow, I make sure that I have adequate enough solution on the rest of the brow. Let me just wipe it on my glove, because you're going to grab the solution that's here with the spoolie and you're going to buff it in to give it a more softer look. Okay, because if you were to take your brush right away and do that there, you're going to create that solid look, and we don't want that. Now we can do one, even though it doesn't progress, I could do one brow at a time. Obviously, by the time you're done blending it in, your time is up, right? So I'm going to grab a little bit of water on my cotton pad. I don't soak my cotton pad too much, just a little bit of water. The tip with the brush, right? It helps you so that you can keep it less smoother. Okay, so I'm going to take, And the beginning of her brow, I didn't want skin staining, but it still has almost like a little bit powdery effect. Okay. So the hair still got a little bit of coloring, but I slightly buffed it. Once again, her brows are already full. I wanted to keep it as natural as possible. Okay. Now I'm going to have to wax her brows afterwards. But if you had areas that you wanted to crisp the tail end, grab your Intense Browns tint remover. Intense Browns has their own tint remover. And I put it on a Q-tip. I wet my Q-tip and I try to crisp the ends, because once it stains the skin, if you don't get it right away, it's kind of hard to release it. So, and then you don't want to apply tint remover on the rest of the brow because you can make it patchy. But you can see how the ombre effect still looks on her. I'm still going to soften it with some water. I always just use water to soften it. And I don't like overly, like my pad is dry in certain areas. So I'm just going to try and blend this area a little bit more where the ombre starts. Now, if there was some area that the brow didn't take, you can go back and fix it again. If you have a customer that has more skin, you might have to go back and repeat step 2 and 3 again, because some areas didn't take. Okay, so you see how natural I was able to make it. I'm going to brush it through with the hair is wet now, so I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to take my fan, and then we're going to do the other brow. We're going to do the other brow after. Oh, it went blurry. Sorry, guys. So you see how soft that looks? And imagine if we just clean up, I'm going to clean it up, and I can always post a picture at the end on my Instagram, but you see how still soft that looks? Because if I were to make it solid from the beginning, and she has such full brows and we did the lamination, it's going to look too aggressive. Okay. But because we're going to also shape, we're going to give it that crisp finish. Let me do the other side. Okay, let me do. Sorry, I can't really see all your questions. Let me just see everybody's good. I meant as soon as I apply the activator, the color turns black regardless of the shade chosen. Sorry for the confusion. Yeah, it's okay. You see, you did it with mine too, but that's just the way the formulation is made. But once you remove it, depending also on their skin tone, because they are meant to have a brown base, meaning like a dark brow intense base. So it almost looks like it's close to that black effect. But also take in consideration when the skin is darker too, it looks darker as well. Okay. So I'm going to start to apply. So you can do both brows at a time together. I just wanted to show you guys what one brow looked compared to the other one. But you see how I'm constantly moving my brush, wipe on my glove before I go get some more. So I'm constantly moving it. Oh, my hair. And that's why if you have a angled brush, you have more control. So my last step, the activator, I use an angled brush. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's a more angled one as opposed to a flat, wider end. And I'm going to make sure that this part is saturated enough so that I could grab and buff this area. Okay. And you gotta have to try to blend it, right? Because the last thing you want is for an ombre to look boxed. Okay, like it stops there and then it's softer. So that's why the spoolie part, blend it. If you have to wipe a little bit of the excess, but then bring it to the front. So I'm just going to bring a little bit more. Okay, and that's how you would blend it. And then we're going to wait just for the beginning of the brow, another 30 seconds more. We're going to get a cotton pad ready. And then we're going to put a little bit of water, okay? Yeah, the activator is 1, so it's half of each. 4 minutes for color, 4 minutes for primer, 2 minutes for color gel, 1 minute for activator, so it's half of each, okay? So far, so good. Like the steps are not hard to do. It's just you have to brow map properly, and you have to stay controlled with it with the activator and learn how to do that ombre effect, because then you're able to reach a lot more customers that want it more natural look. Once again, it's just water. And then I'm just going to grab separate them just to see. And to see where I need to do a little bit more blending. If I have to crisp my tail ends. We just do a little bit more blending, and then just right here, and it's just water. Once again, just water. Perfect. Skin is 5 to 8 days. Hair 4 to 6 weeks, and that's depending on your customer's maintenance. Okay, so that brow. Just gonna find out where I put my scissors. There we go. And if I can show, like I do have my waxing on, I can show one of the brows with the waxing if you want to see how the final touches. But otherwise, that was the webinar on how to do both services. So it is doable. It is great to do both. They have a YouTube video on how to do it. It's called Basic Mapping. Yes, recommending style gel. Okay, so this aftercare. Once again, if I missed your questions, please do not hesitate. Before I do the waxing, though, I'm going to show some slides, and then we're going to go back to the model if you want to see the wax. But that's a styling gel. That's how you'll end it. But I'm not going to put it on yet because I need to do the waxing first. Okay, so let me go to the PowerPoint quickly and tell you guys, if you don't already know, about some exciting news. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. So first of all, here's our social media accounts. Like us on Facebook, RefectoCil North America. If you have to take a picture of this because it will help with the contest. Like us on Facebook. Oh, that should not say Beauty Depot. I am so sorry. I'm not quite sure why that has it on there. Please minus those ones. I am so sorry. Follow us on Instagram, minus the Beauty Depot, and visit on our website. I'm so sorry for that. And then education at cbngroup.com if you have any questions. The contest is this. We have launched an online academy. Okay, and you can get certified with RefectoCil Intense Browns and RefectoCil Brow Lamination. And it's a certification class, and you do get a CEU for continuing education credit. So you get 1 credit. So if you want to enter to win to do this for free, the online academy certification course for Intense Browns, this is what you got to do. Follow us on IG, RefectoCil, which is RefectoCil North America, and Browista _by_ RefectoCil. Like us on Facebook, which is RefectoCil North America. It's the contest for both Canada and US. Yes, correct. And then go to the latest webinar post and leave a comment on what you liked about the webinar or the Intense Browns. Okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Oh, you did for the February 22nd? Awesome, Danielle. Okay. So the aftercare, it is crucial that they stay. Well, we already applied some water, but the thing is with when they go home, they might take hot showers, almost like a sauna type of feeling, and that could diminish the brows. So we say within 24 hours, avoid that. Avoid rubbing your brows with any type of exfoliant, cream, moisturizer, oils, makeup. Avoid all that within 24 hours. But with the Intense Browns, if they continue that even after the 24 hours, they can have a longer durability of it on the skin. The final step, thank you guys. The final step was a styling gel. I'm going to do waxing for whoever wants to stay. And then that's the webinar. Where is the webinar post? It's on RefectoCil North America and RefectoCil Browista. If you look at the right here, follow on the IG RefectoCil North America and Browista by RefectoCil. There's posts on this webinar on both of those. So you can make your comment and like it. And one thing I didn't mention is also tag other people in it so they can know as well. If you can tag in your comment as well, but leave a comment of why you like the webinar and what you like about RefectoCil or Intense Browns. Okay, so let me do the waxing for those of you that want to stay to see like the final. The waxing that I'm using is Corona Bravado. I don't know if I can show it in the camera. It's got that nice pearlescent color, and this is the gel wax, which will help me to be controlled and precise when I'm shaping the brows. It's a great wax. Okay. What is the length of time for skin tint weeks? Not weeks, 5 to 8 days on the skin. Oh, bigger picture. Sorry, guys. Yes. 4 to 6 weeks on the hair. Okay. So, and once again, on the skin, it varies on their type of skin. Okay. And it's a strip wax. Okay. So I'm able to be very precise with it. I can get as close as I feel that I need. Okay, so that's a nice thing. If you need a really good brow wax, and because it's a synthetic wax, you're not going to have any of that bruising, lifting. It's great for sensitive. It pulls all the vellus hair as well. Thank you, guys. Thank you for those that stayed on and watched it. I hope you guys are excited about Intense Browns, and now that you can also do brow lamination with it as well. Okay. So you can precisely and accurately get close to the brow hairs, okay? Still a little wet. Hold the skin. There we go. So even after my first pull, it's going to be hard to show it in the camera because I don't know if you guys can see it. But even under, oh, it gets blurry. But even under my first pull, everything came out. Okay. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, guys. The wax, what wax are you using? I'm using the Bravado, Corona Bravado. Great, great, great wax for brow sculpting. Okay, so I'm just going to clean it up, but that's what you would do. So now you can see the brow, how much more, when it looks cleaner, how the effect should be. Okay, with a brow lamination, especially with somebody who has thick brows like this, you want to make sure. Sorry, my head's in the way. Sure, give me 1 second. Let me just finish this side and I will do that for you, and then I will let you guys go until I'll finish the rest afterwards. Okay, so it is Bravado. Oh, thank you, Terry. 1D, Bravado by Caronland. Bravado, yeah. Okay. And it has this nice honeysuckle and pear smell. So it's very soothing in the treatment room as well. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Let you guys see. A little warm. It's a little warm, the room, so I'm going to let that stay on a little bit longer. I'll do the center one that you guys can see, and then I'm going to finish the rest of the brow after, but then you put the styling gel. Okay. It is. That's so right. You're the best. Oh, thank you, Aniko. Thank you. Thank you, Janet. Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you. It was a lot of information today, but these services for the brows are going to bring business in. Trust me. Everybody's, even after the pandemic, everybody's looking for brow services to get done, like to emphasize their brows. So I'm just going to clean that area, but you see how nice and crispy area is now once you do that cleaning. Okay, so that's how it'll be. I'll try and post afterwards the final result, but make sure that you apply the styling gel at the end. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you guys have a great, wonderful rest of your week. Okay, I had to miss the part when the tint happened because the client's name is. The recording is going to come to you afterwards. Everybody gets a recording afterwards. Make sure you download it onto your desktop so you can continue watching it. Otherwise, if you miss it, email me and I'll send you the link again. Okay, thank you, everyone. I appreciate everybody's support. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye. It's a little wave. Goodbye.